innovation through living labs and entrepreneurship. And through this, we would like to introduce living lab services and infrastructure as a methodology of innovation. So the focus of this series of webinars is on the innovation and entrepreneurship, using living labs as the vehicle to achieve this. As Panos mentioned, ENOL has a lot of programs, especially the virtual learning lab program that you can learn more if you like. Send an email to Lady and she's going to inform you more on how you develop your own living lab. This series of webinars creates something complementary to this on how you can use existing living labs effectively and also effectively applying living lab methodology, innovation and entrepreneurship by using these existing living labs, but also their harmonized methodologies, services, and infrastructures. So through this series, you're gonna acquire some of the following skills. Next slide, Desna. On innovation strategy, developing a deeper understanding of innovation strategies, living lab methodology, learning the principles and the methodologies of setting up and managing a living lab, understanding the dynamics of collaborative innovation and how to foster creativity and cooperation among diverse teams, acquiring design thinking skills, learn how to create and iterate prototypes through a living lab, and also gaining skills in conducting users research, following the user-centric research approach. Also, how to collect, analyze, and interpret data collected in a real environment and in a realistic environment. Innovating business models through living labs. Understanding how to integrate emerging technologies into innovation processes in a smooth way. Giving actually insights or actually trying to convey how you can develop an entrepreneurial mindset through living labs, and also how to validate your innovation ideas and concept in living labs and test beds that's supported by living labs. Exploring the ethical implications of innovation and managing projects that have to bring different stakeholders from the quadruple helix together. Finally, the skills continue with communication and presentation skills, and this is the lecture today is about communication, and this one I will will go deeper to this. Understanding how to identify and mitigating risks that have to do with innovation through living labs. Financial aspects, how you can estimate the cost of using living labs. Networking and collaboration through living labs, but also the network, the local ecosystem of the living labs. Critical thinking, adaptability and resilience, and also the legal intellectual property knowledge and how this is managed in living labs, so you can use it for your living lab project. That's all from my side. Since it is a kind of lecture, we're gonna have a break at some point, but feel free to interrupt and ask for questions, not only for your benefit, but also for the benefit of all the participants. Any questions so far before moving on? You can use also the chat for questions, so the trainers can get back to them either now or if it requires more time in order to develop further in one of your questions, we can do it offline. So please feel free to use the chat for any questions or concerns while we're presenting. Thank you. Kostas?
Thank you, Evdokimos. Do you hear me? Okay, thank you.
Yes, Kostas.
I will present the 5E model of instruction. The 5E model of instruction, when applied through living labs, of course, represents a powerful framework that fosters immersive and effective learning experiences. We used this model because through this engagement, students are drawn into real-world scenarios, lighting their curiosity and motivating them to explore complex topics within authentic context. Also, as they delve in deeper into these experiences guided by explanations and supported by resources available within Living Labs, they develop a solid understanding and concepts and principles, of course. Also, this understanding serves as a foundation for elaboration where students extend their knowledge and apply it to practical challenges. Finally, the evaluation phase enables both learners and educators to assess the effectiveness of the learning journey, ensuring that it aligns with desired outcomes. In essence, the 5E model, combined with Living Labs, facilitates holistic and experiential learning and equipping individuals and students with the skills and insights necessary to thrive in ever-evolving world. We use this model for our modules, and we understood that it is important to follow and for the other modules. Despina, please, could you change the slide? Thank you. We see the same with this 5E model instruction, and go to the next, please. And we have a question now, a topic question. Why is it important to understand how we can learn in a better way through Living Labs, this 5E model? Learning how to learn better empowers you to navigate life's complexities, adapt to change, and unlock your full potential for personal and professional growth. To begin with, please, Despina, next slide, please. Okay, thank you. Understanding how you can learn in a better way through Living Labs is crucial for several reasons. To begin with, let's explore why it's crucial to understand how you can learn better and delve into the first point for our opinions and as we researchers show that is when you, for example, when you grasp effective learning strategies with the context of Living Labs, you can acquire knowledge and skills more efficiently, making the most of your participation. Moving on to the next point, consider the concept of lifelong learning. Learning doesn't end after formal education, as we know, and especially in Living Labs, knowing how to learn effectively ensures you can continually adapt and thrive in this dynamic Living Labs environment. Additionally, on memory improvement, learning how to learn in Living Labs enhances your ability to remember and apply the insights and experiences gained during your participation. Another point is how effective learning strategies are essential for problem solving, because we have more problems to solve. Effective learning strategies within Living Labs helps you develop critical thinking and problem solving skills crucial and addressing real-world challenges within the Living Labs. Furthermore, consider the role of confidence. We understand that your learning process with Living Labs boosts your self-confidence. Why? This confidence enables you to actively engage, contribute, and innovate in collaborative projects. In a similar vein, for tailoring learning, we can say that everyone's learning style is unique, of course. Discovering how to learn better within living labs allows you to tailor your approach to maximize your contribution and growth. Moreover, think about how your creativity can booster through effective learning. Living labs often involve interdisciplinary collaboration, team working, and diverse perspectives. Learning how to exploit this diversity sparks creativity and leads to innovative solutions. Turning to our not last but second last point, we say that successful learning experiences in living labs lead to a sense of achievement and success, enhancing your overall emotional well-being and motivation to participate. Also, the impact of learning on career advancement in the context of living lab. Continuous learning is essential for personal and professional growth. Learning how to learn within these environments keeps you competitive and opens up career opportunities. And also, additionally, we can say about global challenges through living labs. Living labs tackle complex global challenges. Knowing how to learn better with this context equips you to contribute effectively to solving these issues and making a positive impact. In summary, understanding how to learn better through living labs empowers you to fully engage in collaborative innovation, adapt to change, and maximize your potential for growth, both personally and professionally. I think this is the last, the last slide, and you can see in this slide, learn how to learn, a paper which wrote from Professor Vamidis, Despina Petsani, and Dokimos Konstantinidis, and that's all for me. Thank you, and continue, Despina. You can go for the next.
Thank you. Thank you, Kostas. And I want to start with a question. So the title of this session contains the word transdisciplinary communication. So I think that we hear a lot multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary. So what does this all mean? And do you find any difference? Do you find any common things? Maybe for you it's completely different. So feel free to open your mics and just say, do you think that this is different? And if yes, what is the difference? Shall I do what professors do? Pick a name and ask. So doesn't anyone has any ideas of what this is? Okay, I will pick it.
Well, I believe that multidisciplinary is people from different backgrounds and different disciplines that come together for a research project. And interdisciplinary is using the different types of knowledge they have to do that, maybe.
So you think that there is a difference but
Yeah.
okay. Any other ideas from the audience? Do you agree with what has been said? Celia? No? Rosa? Someone opened the camera, so maybe you want to talk? No? Okay, I understand that you might not want to interact yet. We have something in the chat. Only transdisciplinary implies impacting the other fields. Yeah, I think that that's exactly the difference, and that's exactly what we want the living lab way. So, and I just understand that this is a mistake. Apologies. This is the interdisciplinary, and this is the multidisciplinary. So, in the interdisciplinary, you have one disciplinary that does the research and tries to support the research with other views. In the multidisciplinary, you have many disciplinaries, equal weights, but they try to work together. In the transdisciplinary, what we are trying to promote, let's say, today, and what we try to do in the Living Lab way, is that we try to push the boundaries of each disciplinary further. So implies exactly interacting with the other fields and creating conceptual common frameworks that are coming from all the fields. So for any Star Wars fans here, this is the way, the Living Lab way, let's say. So what transdisciplinary communication in research actually means, and how we as researchers and people that want to perform research through the Living Lab way need to know. So transdisciplinary communication is about opening dialogues and opening communication with other disciplinaries, and be ready to change your own understanding. So breaking down the boundaries that you have set, engage the holistic approach to research. So it's not only, let's say, that we do health research, but health research can have impacts on other research domains, but can be impacted by other research domains. Integration of diverse perspectives and methodologies, gain a shared understanding of what we are doing with all the other disciplinaries, understand that health can impact food and food can impact health, health can impact exercising and physical domain activities and vice versa, and work collectively. And why it is important? It is very important for a lot of reasons, but we would like to stress out two. Collaboration between the different disciplinaries and stretching the boundaries can also spark creativity. And creativity is what we need for innovation and entrepreneurship. So we are not talking here for what only particles will do, let's say, but we are also trying to create something new, something innovative. So we need this creativity and mixing different ideas and different perspectives. And of course, it's very difficult to address the big common issues and complex issues of the real world with only one discipline. So you can have a very simple research question, simple, I mean, not to offend anyone, science is not simple, but you can have a basic ground question that can be answered only by data. But to move that to the entrepreneurship and innovation phase and solve actually real complex problems, you need the point of view other people and not only your data and your field. Challenges like climate change, public health crisis, sustainable development need the multifaceted collaboration of a lot of disciplines. And which are the challenges? Of course, as you can imagine, it's not simple to actually work together and join forces with other disciplines on building a holistic new solution. So there are, of course, communication barriers. There are probably misalignment of goals or objectives. One discipline might want to achieve something while another wants a slightly different goal, to serve a slightly different goal, and this may create misunderstanding and misalignment. And then is, of course, how to balance this perspective in order to create something that everyone will use. And I would like to share with you some of the challenges that we are facing in our Living Lab, because we are all here, the instructors today, coming from the Thessaloniki Action for Health and Wellbeing Living Lab, which is established in the city of Thessaloniki under the Medical Physics and Digital Innovation Lab. And it's a very multidisciplinary environment that tries to do transdisciplinary research. So a lot of expertise, a lot of experts from various domains are working together to solve these transdisciplinary issues. So some challenges that we were facing was how to engage these different stakeholders, and not only coming along our disciplinaries, but also bringing people from outside. So bringing the community, bringing the citizens, bringing the policymakers, the industry, and other academic fields. And for this, we have to face the challenges of how to create this panel of experts and stakeholders, how to manage this panel, how to build trust among us and among all the panel, how to communicate the lessons learned among us, how to engage in long term. Because if this is your everyday work, it is easy. But if we are talking for outside people being involved in this research environment, it's not easy to maintain their views and engagement. And also, we want always to fast adapting to the changes of the environment and react to these changes. So we need to get up to date, and this also poses problems of resources. So this summarizes the challenges that we have to face across the years. And some of these challenges we have managed to address them quite effectively, but of course we are continuously learning. And as Kostas previously mentioned, we try to learn also how to learn better and how to learn more effectively and quickly. And another point I wanted to stress out is that when we are talking about communication, we usually have in mind that we as a researcher need to communicate our work outside to the community, to the academia, to the policymakers, and make affect something and make a change. But it's not only that. We need also to be open to listen to the other stakeholders, the other domains, the other disciplines, and take back what they have to give us. So we need to understand who they are, who the audience is, who we are talking to, and what we are getting from it and everyone, which is their expertise and which is the point that they can contribute. And to guide the discussion towards some mutually satisfactory conclusions, because we cannot have someone that has the only absolute answer to a problem. There are a lot of views that we need to combine, And this is what Living Labs are trying to do. We need to collaborate, brainstorm, and do this problem solving. And of course, to do all that, a researcher needs a very broad skill set. So that is why also Living Labs come in place to act as the mediators that can support the researcher to do all this, get the information out there, but also gather the information in the most effective way and apply the information that they want to gather to their own research. And that is why we have established for different events and activities that we are doing, common ways of gathering information, common ways of adding our information to our research framework and update our research and drive towards a new innovation. Some strategies that we would like to share with you for effective transdisciplinary communication. And this again stems from our work in the field and our experience throughout the years. So it's very important to build a common language among the different stakeholders. We do not always use the same terminology and the same definitions. Even if we are speaking with people that are in the exact same field, there is most probably that we will use different words to express something. So as an example, this is an example that Eva Kefaya, another instructor that you will meet in another webinar, uses a lot, that we were in a room full of Living Labbers, let's say Living Lab practitioners, and we were discussing and we were talking about knowledge transfer. And we understand that, okay, everyone was saying knowledge transfer, but for me it was something else. For Evdokimus, it was something else. For Eva, it was something else. Not a huge difference among that, but this small difference can make the can actually make the difference in your research outcome. These differences should be depicted in the terminologies that you will be using. So building a common language, and that is what actually we are trying to do in the VITALISE project for Living Labs. But also you have to build the common understanding among the stakeholders that you work with. So this takes time. Establish clear communication channels. Not only to get the information out there, so not only as a Living Lab, but as a researcher as well. So if you are conducting a research in a specific domain and you want the people, the stakeholders that might be community, that might be some professionals to give you feedback, you need to let you know them how they can do that. Establish specific ways and specific channels that this feedback can be given, and make sure that this is accessible. So there are tools, of course, out there, online collaboration tools like Mendy, Miro, various of survey tools, but they are not all the people so digitally skilled. So make sure that you the tools that you are offering, the channels that you are offering are also inclusive and accessible. And establish the channels like meetings and workshops for continuous and frequent communication. Encourage open and respectful dialogue. This is not always easy, and that is why it requires a very good skill set from the researcher. But I think that in every in almost every research domain, you cannot work only with a device and data and with no interaction. So get to actively listen what the others are saying, even if this is input for your research or input for your research protocol or your research framework. You need to have to accept constructive feedback and learn how to implement that in your research. And also, of course, how you compose the team, how you assign the roles is also a strategy that you should follow to make it clear from the beginning and try also to adapt to what people have to say. Okay, so we will enter now to a whole other section of this lesson. So we would talk with specific examples of how to communicate, why to communicate, to whom you communicate, how to communicate, and when to communicate. So before going to that, I would like to stop for 5 minutes to take any questions and then do a short break before we continue on the second part. So are there any questions from any of the instructors of what has been said already? I will stop there so that I can see you. You can also write in the chat or speak, or it might be a comment and not a question if you want to add something or. Okay. Okay, I don't see anyone that wants to share something. So let's do a quick break to grab some coffee or some water if you want, and we come back at 4 CT to continue. No, are we back? Please give a thumbs up or open your camera so say hello.
No.
Hello.
Hello, welcome back. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay, now?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, good. So I will, if you don't speak, I will continue speaking for another 20 minutes or a bit more. And then we will do an exercise, a hands-on session in which you will split into groups and you will have to discuss at the topic of transdisciplinary communication, actually. So this part of the lecture is about case studies and examples from our living lab, of course, and from our expertise. So make sure that if you have something similar to share, you also share it with the participants, because this is also a transdisciplinary exchange and is not only the Sahel experience, but is also other people. So what we would like to stress out at this part is why to communicate, to whom we should communicate, how and when. The most important is why, and this structures everything. So what is the purpose of your communication? Do you communicate for raising awareness? Do you communicate just for getting things out there? Do you want to understand something that the other people will say to you? Do you want to implement something? Do you want people to take action of what you are communicating? So the goal is very important for every communication. To whom you communicate. So what is your target audience? You are addressing differently older adults. You are addressing differently policymakers, that might be people with limited time. You may address differently a group of doctors or healthcare professionals, because as well they might have limited time. How you communicate. So what means you use to communicate? Is it effective to just have some interviews with them? Do you need a co-creation session? Do you just need a post on social media to get the word out there? So this links back to why and to whom. And when. So when in the process of your research, you need this information from whom, how, and why. So do you need something at the beginning to help you structure the protocol that you will be using? Do you need it as an actual input for your research? And how this all will affect the overall planning. So these are questions that we always think when we plan any activity on our living labs. And the following examples that we will talk about are following two axes, let's say. We want to show you what examples we have from successful transdisciplinary studies, but also what lessons we have learned from failed collaboration. So I will try to address also things that didn't went well, or at least didn't went as expected, because target groups of the quadruple helix. So of course we cannot discuss very on detail for each of the different actors that exist in all the quadruple helix domain, because you understand that we have the 4 domains of the quadruple helix. We have the government, but the government has different levels and different people that you can approach. So coming from low-level stakeholders that in the health and well-being domain might manage a care facility, they might manage a group of daycare centers or hospitals, or going much higher on the hierarchy to whole ministries of health and people working in the ministry, etc. So this is also have a lot of diverse groups and peoples to talk about. Also, when we talk about academia is also a big group. The researchers, there are people that are doing actual research, and this is from people with, let's say, the lower expertise, because they're just starting. So starting researchers that they might do their master or PhD, to more advanced researchers that they are professors and they have a lot of experience in the research. But in academia, we have also people that support the research as well, and this might be also important to engage in some studies. We have also the industry. The industry is all the companies, the SMEs, the people that are out there and can help on the sustainability of the research and moving it one step closer to the actual end users. So here we have also a lot of different views and perspectives. In industry, most likely when we are talking about industry, we refer to SMEs and larger companies, of course. And in the health and well-being domain, there is a notion to merge the industry with the technology industry. Of course, it's not only that, but it's commonly used for the tech industry. And of course, we have the community. So you see that these are all interlinked, so that it's not that one people can represent only one helix. One people can represent various helixes. So we have the community, which is most frequently the actual users of your solution, of your innovation, but also the ones that will influence all the other domains, because they are the great majority of the people. So starting with policymakers, because these are the ones that are the most difficult, at least from our case, to engage. And it took us a lot of years to find effective communication ways. So when we started back in 2014, it was not that easy to make policymakers listen to us, because it was just the first years of operating a living lab. They haven't heard of the term, they didn't know the results that we might have. So a first approach that we used as a living lab was to try to knock on doors, actually send emails or make calls and saying, look, we are this lab, we have established a living lab, and we want you to listen to us. So we understand very quickly, luckily, that this didn't work very well, and that the policymakers have very restricted time, most usually. They have also different views that they need to listen to, and they should know where to focus. So you should have some results for them. And I think this was back in 2018 or 19 that we had some very effective sessions with policymakers, in which we tried to merge policymakers with the community. So these are some photos from this session, and this is an activity that actually worked, and an example that worked very well for us. We invited various policymakers from 3 fields: mobility, environment, and health, to speak to actual citizens of the city and a community that we have established, the Community for Research on Independent Living, that consisted mainly of older adults. And these policymakers tried to interact with them to actually to get to know what are their problems, but also showcase a solution that they are promoting. One key aspect here was that the policymakers that we engaged were coming from the mid-level, let's say. So they were not that high in the hierarchy, so we did not invite the health minister, the Ministry of Health, but we invited people that were running care centers for the health domain, and other people in key positions for the mobility and environment. And this was very insightful for the citizens, because they start understanding that the policymakers can actually listen to them and listen to what they have to say, their problems and the potential solutions. But also the policymakers starting to understand that we have something to show them, and we have a new way of providing solutions, innovative solutions for the community. And from that point on, I think that we use that as a good example to start approaching other policymakers, other people in them, in domains that they have influence. And we managed also to establish good communication channels. And of course, always showcasing the results that we have. So as a takeaway message for the policymaker is to show some results and to show that you can actually offer something and that you have influence. So moving on to industry, here you can see an example of an experiment that we are actually now running in a hospital in Greece, the Hippocratean General Hospital, and was coming from an industrial partner. So there is this company called Vita in Italy that has these cameras. And what they are trying to do is that they try to monitor people. Here is a use case that they monitor people when lying on a hospital bed in order to detect possible risks for ulcers. But they are also using their software and hardware for other purposes, like tracking people in their everyday living at home, for doing some gait analysis, predicting fall risks, etc. So their purpose and their research objective was to actually test, try to do a pilot testing of feasibility of these cameras to be used in hospital environments by nursing and healthcare professionals. And this was very, the first barrier and the first challenge was to actually go there and convince the people in the hospital to use that, because this is a new product, and to start testing, you have to gather some first insights. You don't have actual results to show. And for this, what helped us to actually run the experiment and continue running it was that we have already established a trustful collaboration with this hospital and with the doctors of this hospital, with the nurses of this hospital, and with the management of the clinic. So we have previously started on discussions, get to know what they need, what are their problems, and try not to add another burden on them, but just to make it as easier as we can. So we assign a doctor and an outside doctor of the hospital to support the whole process, so not to burden the nurses more. We have run at the beginning co-creation sessions on how this whole installation process and information gathering can happen. We try all the way to communicate the problems of how to enter the patients in the study, because this was also an issue, how to do the selection of the patients and make them add them in this study. So these all are some examples of what events we used and what tools we used for communicating and for building this trust with the industry domain and with the stakeholders of the industry, so that we can run this experiment. And then another very important part is the academia and researchers. And for this, I would say that this is the easier part for us. I understand that not for all living labs, that this is not the case for all living labs, because we are based on a university. So if we want to run research with students and with actual researchers and gather their view, we don't have a lot of challenges there. But we try to go a step further and not only include the students and the patients, but merge them together in common activities. So in these photos, you can see the older adults have actually joined a university lesson, so they attend a university lesson. But they do not only attend, they also teach the students. And you can say, what do older adults that may have only graduated primary school, what do they have to teach to the medical students? They actually have to give them their experiences and their experiences as patients, and they have to give them valuable tools on how to build empathy. So this was a very insightful event, and the comments that we gathered from the students were really positive, because it was one of the first times that they interacted with people, getting to know their problems. And this is very important, especially for medical students. And we have also run actual co-creation sessions, engaging citizens, older adults, and more specifically, this was for Parkinson patients, with students that they wanted to build an app. So it was students that were doing their research on an app that wants to support Parkinson patients. And this was also, the comments that we got from the students were very good and very insightful. The students actually mentioned that they did not understand that they have this kind of power in their hands to actually help people. And they interacted with them. They shared, the Parkinson patients shared their views on what they want. The students shared their views on what they can do and what they can offer. At the end, they built an actual app that the patients used, and they also voted for the best app that won a prize. So these are some examples of how we also do events to integrate and build these communication bridges among the academia and the other quadruple helix. And last but not least, of course, the community, the citizens, and this is also very, very broad. So it can be just having the purpose to communicate the message and our activities. So you can see here a campaign that we have run 2-3 years ago, which was a social media campaign. We call it 30-day project challenge. So each day we demonstrated the results and activities of a different project, trying to communicate to different audience through social media. So this was a huge month for us. This whole campaign gained some visibility of the what each project was doing, but their purpose was just one-way communication, just to get the information out there in order to be ready when we need to call up for action the different groups. And of course, we know that for several projects that might deal with older adults, the social media are not the best way of communicating and sharing information, but at least they see some visibility there that they like. So some of them, maybe their family sees that and ask them, do you participate in this project? And when they understand that their children or grandchildren are also engaged with that, they feel very good. We are also running a lot of activities with various organizations and patient coalitions in the Thessaloniki. So we are collaborating with Alma Zois, which is cancer patient, which is for cancer patients. We are also participating in marathons when the city have their yearly marathon. So we participate as a team to also a way of getting out there our work and the programs that we are doing. So we are sponsored by one of the programs that we have, which is the LLM Care, and it's about the physical and mental health of people. And we also try to stress the international days. So here you can see a campaign for childhood cancer, but when we have a national day of that is related to the work that we are doing, we try to get the words out there and link that with the specific projects. We also support, here you can see in the image, we are in front of our lab wearing some shirts that we have, they have brought us from this Alma Zois cancer patients in order to support their work. So we try not only to take their opinion, but also give back as a lab. Are there any questions until now? Okay, so the last part of my presentation before going to the hands-on exercise is to present you some actually a research work that we have done some years ago, that we tried to classify the types of events that living labs are doing. Of course, this is not an extensive list, but this is just a classification that we have come up with. And for every event, we have tried also to identify the impact and the resources that are needed. And this is part of a blueprint that we have published some years ago. So we can give it also to you as a material with this presentation at the end of the session. And I would like to briefly present you the co-creation sessions, the educational visits, the cultural visits, the outdoor activities, the online sessions, and the seasonal events. So what each event is, and what we think, at least based on a questionnaire that we have run, is the impact that it has for communication, for transdisciplinary communication. So in the co-creation, what you try to do is to design tools or promote good practices and solutions with a specific group of people. This is a pretty old definition, I would say. We have updated a lot, and you can find the new ones in the VITALISE harmonization. But I would like to show you that because this is part of the blueprint and as a result of the research that we have done. So I didn't want to change that. And what the co-creation session can actually have as an impact. First, of course, in the co-creation, you gather the feedback of the thing that you are co-designing, co-creating with your stakeholders. So there are some structured ways to gather the feedback and integrate it into your research and into your product. But also, it's very important because there is a socialization inside the group, and they try to understand. They're starting to build a common language, and also you create a sense of belonging. So if we create something together, we become part of a group, and if we become a group that works well together, we establish effective transdisciplinary communication that can have the impact in our research that we have. And of course, it might be entertaining, and people also mention that they learn a lot. So if you openly exchange information, you also learn. Also, the educational visits, which are the visits that I have explained, I have mentioned a bit previously, but we always try to establish a way of also having entertainment in our session in order to build this engagement with the people. So the educational visits can be organized as field trips, and we try to promote major infrastructures of our city and our community. So an impact that they can have is the actual interaction of the city. So they visit new parts of the city. They learn things, the people that participate, but for you might be also a way of gathering information for various tools that are part of this visit. Cultural visits, which are kind of the same, but also have this cultural element. So visiting a museum or an art gallery as well, and there also we have projects that are running inside the museums, and the community goes there not only to visit and learn for the museum, but also co-create with the various actors that are surrounding the museum of new solutions on how to make museums more accessible. Also, outdoor activities are very important, and one example of such an activity that we have done was regarding a new innovation that we wanted to establish in the city of Thessaloniki, which was called pocket-sized parks, and we wanted the older adults to help us create together and design together in various points of the city these small-sized parks that will help on their well-being and health. And of course, this then had to be communicated to the policymakers. It was on an unfortunate time because the COVID struck and we couldn't go forward with that initiative. But it was very important also for the people because they self-organized and they changed the view from pocket-sized parks to roof parks. So they have established roof gardens, let's say, with various plants in their own houses in order also that help them cope with the COVID restrictions. And this started from the activities that we initialized in our living labs. That was mainly open doors to identify the space. And of course, then it can be online sessions. Online sessions can be a bit tricky, as we discussed previously when we are talking for people with limited accessibility. But they can be very effective when we talk about industry or researchers. And also if there are people that might have accessibility issues, there are ways that technology can give you to accommodate that. So for one example that we have also with older adults was that instead of using actual Skype to do a Skype call, we call them all together. So they were speaking in their mobile phone, like an ordinary call, but they were speaking with like 10 people in each group. And it was interesting how they reacted on that because it was the first time that they were in a multiple call. And also what we have established and we run almost every year as a lab is this seasonal event. So we gather together in main seasonal happenings like Christmas and Easter, which are the two most important for us. And we invite the various stakeholders. And this is always a time to build the interaction among all the quadruple helix. So these are big events that you might not get a lot of feedback, but you on the long term gain this building of trust among your ecosystem and network. So this is it. I will stop speaking. Are there any questions? Okay, I will explain briefly the exercise and then we will split you in breakout rooms and we will ask you, based on what you have heard today, to plan an event. The event can be event, activity. You can structure it as you want. So in your group, you have to select a project or idea that you want to focus on. You have to specify the aim and the scope of the event. So make sure to choose wisely what your project will be, your general project, and what your specific aim for this event. So the general idea might be to develop a new app to support, I don't know, Parkinson patients, but the specific aim of the event might be to validate the user interface, let's say, of the app or something like that. You have to identify your targeted audience. So who are the people that are going to participate in that? What do you expect to get from that? So do you expect any feedback? Do you expect to apply some changes on the product or changes on the research design or you just want to get the word out there. So what exactly do you expect to get? Which are the activities that you are going to perform? Can be various sessions, can be interviews, you can be creative, can be posts on social media, whatever you can think. What are the key messages, and what are the tools that you're going to use? So for example, if you're building a co-creation activity, what you would do in that co-creation? Are you using any hands-on tools or anything? So is it clear what you have to do? And Nico will help me split you in breakout rooms. And I have also shared in the chat, oh, no, that's, 5 links with 5 different Word files in which you will write your actual answers as a group. So if there are no questions, we can split in breakout rooms. Three. And see the can you see the link in the chat?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. Thomas, can we ask people to come back? Should I close the rooms?
You can, I think you can close all the rooms at once, so everyone will disappear in the main channel.
Okay. Say,
Or I can do it if it is easier. Do you want me to do it now?
no, it's fine. So, not everyone survived until the end, but hopefully we have some people that stayed until now. That was all for today. We would like to thank you. We hope that you learned something. I would quickly like to share some takeaways that we have. You will also get this presentation, but for us, what we want you to take from these courses, don't be afraid to communicate and change your view. So be ready to accept the feedback and change, even if you are doing some research. Make sure that you listen to the people and integrate their feedback on that, because this is how innovation can thrive. Plan, and again, plan. So spend time to know your audience, plan well your activities and your communication plan, and find ways to learn from what you're doing, what works best, and reflect on the next time. So make sure that you also discuss the activities with your people. And we have also in our final slide our contact details, so if you want to contact us. And also the Word files will be there, so if you want to write more ideas, because we are going through them, and we will share some feedback with you on activities that you can improve, or on the things that you have written there. And last but not least, it has been a link has been shared with a form for giving us your views on this session, and on the ones that will come as you will continue on in this webinar series. That's it for me. Any final comment from anyone?
Despina, I would like also to thank all for participating, and I hope to see in the next course. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.